So you wrote some songs, you're not happy with them, you think they suck, and you don't know what you can do to make them better. Relax, man. It's just a bunch of bad barbecue. What's going on, gang? This is Ian, your very friendly neighborhood Viking, coming back at you with another Motivational Monday video. This week, I'm going to talk to you about something that is very, very important, and something that any of you creators, whether it be music or content, really in any way, should get in the habit of doing if you're not already doing. Now, don't let that intro line that I said about barbecue or whatever throw you off. It's actually just a tagline that I heard from an Aaron Franklin video a couple weeks ago, and what he said was, the only way to make good barbecue is by making bad barbecue. And I like that because that applies across pretty much everything else. You have to be shitty at something to get better at it. You have to know when it's shitty to know where you can improve on it. And what I want to talk to you about today is the value of doing pre-production with your music primarily. You can use the same thing with videos or whatever you want to use, but I'm specifically talking about music today. Before we get into any of that stuff for today's episode, I need you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, turn those notifications on. Make sure that you're following us so you get any updates for all the videos every single week that we're trying to put out to you guys. For those of you guys who don't know what pre-production is, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You're doing rough drafts of your music. You're making the record before you make the record. If you're not doing it, you should be. In my opinion, you have much more regrets in hindsight when you don't do pre-production. We didn't do pre-production for the first two records, and I listened to those and cringe. I listened to the last record and do the same thing because there are some things that I wish I would have just done better, had different setups. You know, there's always the hindsight regrets there. But yeah, doing pre-production is the most important part to your songwriting process, in my opinion. Obviously, everybody has a different take on what good songs and bad songs are. You know you. You know your songs, you know if they're good or bad for the most part. You know, you have to write bad songs to write good songs. Not everybody will write junk songs right off the bat. Some people are just good, you know? Sometimes it's like that. Some people are just able to write good stuff from off the rip and, you know, whatever, they're lucky. I'm not one of them. I still write songs that I don't particularly care for. There are songs on this new record that we're gonna put out that we scrapped. I think 3 or 4 of them, I think by now. You go through this process of where you think it's good, but it's not good, and you're just trying to push it because you spent the time in writing something and you want to get it out there, but ultimately it's just not good, and you have to come to terms with the fact that, hey dude, this is shit and we need to scrap it. I just cut 2 minutes off a song the other day because I realized it's not good for that song. Is it good for something else? Maybe, but for this song, no, it's not. So yeah, in writing good songs, it just takes time a lot of times. You have to write bad ones, and then over time you go, okay, maybe this was a little bit too much of a run-on. Maybe this is bad lyrics right here, or it's mediocre lyrics, or it's, you know, piss poor writing, or piss poor production, whatever it may be. And, you know, that's the evolution of things. You just kind of, you get there eventually. Writing more songs over time is usually better. Usually the more times you do it, the better you get. Now that doesn't stand across all bands. You know, some bands' first record is awesome and then their next record is terrible. That's all up to opinion and all that kind of stuff. Everything is subjective at that point. But you would think that the more you do something, the better you will be at it. And songwriting is no different. There is an unexplainable amount of value in doing pre-production. It's so important. It really does help you expand as a writer and to be able to listen to yourself instead of going, okay, this idea seems good, now let's take it to the studio. And then you get to the studio, you spend all the money and the time and you record, and then you get the record back and you go, I f***ing hate this. Why did I do that? Why didn't somebody talk me out of it? It's not somebody else's fault. It's just like you're in the moment, and this is where the value of pre-production comes in. How do you do pre-production? Well, you can have a little home studio. You can be in a bigger studio if you have that availability or that kind of money. Some people will get pissy and argue right now because they go, well, I don't have the money to spend on a laptop and a DAW and an interface and all that kind of stuff. And you know what? I've been there. I'm not really that far from that now. But I mean, like the laptop that I use to do most of my demoing, I paid $200 for. The DAW is Reaper. It's $60 for a license, or you can evaluate it and it costs you nothing. You know, my interface is probably $100 right now. It's not expensive compared to some people. Some people might say $300 is unattainable, and I understand that because times are tough. Some people, $300 is nothing, whatever. But I've actually done pre-production on my phone and on tablets before because I didn't have the money for the other stuff. And I've done it that way. You can download multi-track DAWs for your phone and your tablet, and it can be done. And they're free. So I've used them. I can't remember the one I used a while back ago. I think it was called N-Track Studio or something like that, but it's been years since I used it, but I did. I've been there. And it sucks, but it does help. So there are ways that are free or less expensive. You know your budget, and then just try to find out what you can accordingly. Another significant fact is that you need to write songs with other people. You need to play guitar or bass or drums or whatever and have outsider opinions because you are only writing one way. That's it. Writing with the rest of your band, that's where everybody's ideas get to blend together. Now, all of those ideas don't always work. In my opinion, it's best to serve what's best for the song. And that's probably what's gonna work out better overall. Some people are gonna get mad because their ideas aren't getting pushed or they feel like they're getting stifled or whatever. That sucks, but sometimes you just don't have good ideas. And I'm one of those people. Not all of my ideas are good. I try, and that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes because I have to look at my wrist and be like, man, I worked really hard on this. This shit is awful. So yeah, make sure you're writing with the other people in your band, or make sure you're jamming with other guitar players or other musicians in general. They're gonna give you a different way to look at things than you currently are that will enlighten you, or should enlighten you at least a little bit. As long as their knowledge or whatever seems worthwhile, take it into consideration because you don't know everything. Now, what I said before about evolution is what I meant is that everything is a process. And like I said, you would generally write not as great songs in the beginning to then eventually being able to write really songs that you're happy with. Other people might not think that they're good songs, but who gives a shit? You need to be happy with it first before you can let it out to other people. Just always remember that in songwriting and pretty much everything else, it's all a process. Give it time and understand that the more you do it, the better you're gonna be. Another thing that I look at is for inspiration, it's everywhere. It's in everything. I look for inspiration everywhere. I might hear a piece of music somewhere and I don't necessarily want to copy that piece of music. I just go, man, that's a great riff, or that's a great piece of work. However it's laid out, you know what I mean? I would love to write something with that feel to it. And it gets me inspired to write different kinds of music, different kinds of songs. And I love that. I love that I can find inspiration in pretty much anything. So make sure you keep that in mind when you're trying to find inspiration. Keep your ears open to everything. It doesn't have to be like, you know, one style of music, or it doesn't have to be music in general. You can just hear some kind of noise or anything, really. And whatever causes you to feel that type of inspiration, that little feeling, that moment inside where you say, that's awesome and I need to create. Follow that as far down as you can take it. Always understand that there are no one-way streets in songwriting. One of the most awesome parts about writing music is that there's no rules. So yeah, always understand that it's just not one straight path all the time. It's not just you. It's everybody in that band that's gonna come together and co-write those songs. Time plus reevaluating your music plus consistency will equal success. The more you do it, the better it's going to be. When you record something, record it, mess with it a little bit, come back to it the next day or the next week or something like that, and then say, okay, do I really like this? Do I think this is perfect for this song? Because it isn't always that way. All right, keep doing that as much as you possibly can. Be consistent with all this stuff, and I stress consistency all the time, whether it be songwriting or posting or anything like that. You have to keep doing it all the time. That way you get better at it, and then people see you. If you're pumping out music all the time, people are gonna go, God damn, these guys are always doing something. But if you put a record out and then wait 5 years and put another record out, which we have done, it sucks. And it takes a serious toll on your band and on your reputation and on a lot of things. So always be consistent with it too. And if you keep doing those things, you will be successful. It's just a formula, and that's a formula that works. In short, if you're not doing the pre-production, please, please, please start. It will help you grow as a musician, as a writer, as a content creator. It will help. There's no downsides. Just always remember to keep your ears, your eyes, and your options open. Write with other people. Write as often as you can. There's free, cheap ways to do pre-production, so there's kind of no excuses. All right? Now, I would love to hear any of your guys' music that you're gonna put out, or any of your guys' comments. If you think I missed anything at all, please let me know in the comments section. I would love to hear from you. Let me know what you guys think about this week's episode. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn your notifications on. Like us, follow us. We'll leave all the links to all of our stuff in the description for all of our social media contacts, and you can pick up our record. So thank you guys very much. Go out there, create, have an awesome Monday, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Later.